Okay, so here we have our second student example. So same question, right? Are graphic novels books? So the answer here is, right, graphic novels are books. So I clearly have the opinion, right, of this student. So in the answer, now I'm looking for two reasons why this student believes graphic novels are books. And again, I'm highlighting in purple, right, the the answer, because this is what I'm going to go back to when I'm looking at the text evidence. So the student says, I believe graphic novels are books because, and then in light blue is the student's first reason, right? Your brain processes it the same way. Now, again, we do kind of want to avoid that word you or your because you don't want to speak to the reader. So, or to the reader. So we can say, I believe graphic novels are books because we can say readers, readers, we can say a reader's brain, right? A reader's brain, apostrophe, processes it the same way. We could go into a little bit more detail here, but I understand what the student is saying, right? A reader's brain processes a graphic novel the same way as, we want to finish that idea, right? As a regular book, right? So I'm going to go ahead and highlight that blue. Okay, so this is the first reason that when I look at the text evidence, that's what I'm going to look for. And then the second reason here, which I've highlighted in green, so again, you can see the student's second reason, right? Graphic novels are books because they help, again, we don't want to say you, help the reader understand the language just like, right? Again, regular books, or we could even change that wording a little bit and we could say perhaps novels, right? Okay, just an idea. Okay, so I put in a note here. It's not a part of the answer, but this is something for you for reference. So the note is, right, your first piece of text evidence in the C, right, the citation box, should support this reason, right, in light blue. The second piece of text evidence in the second C, right, box should support the second reason. All right, so as I'm reading the first piece of text evidence, here you're going to see what text evidence looks like, okay? Text evidence has quotation marks, which you'll see here, right? Quotation marks. And that tells me that the student has copied word for word from the article, right? Something from a passage from that article. So it says the article explains, as you interpret the images and text in a graphic novel, your brain comprehends the story in the same way it does text-based books. Now, I boldface this for a reason, because I want to highlight the connection that supports the student's answer. Okay, so let's go back to the answer, because this is what I do when I'm assessing your writing. First reason the student says is, well, graphic novels, readers' brains process graphic novels the same way as a regular book. So we use our brains to read, right? Okay, so that's what I'm looking for here. So in this text evidence, in graphic novels, we're looking at images and text. Your brain comprehends, which means understands, the story in the same way it does text-based books. So I'm putting here in bold that phrasing that specifically supports, right, this first idea up here. Okay, so that is what's called supportive text evidence. There also is a nice transitional phrase here, which I usually provide to you guys. So there is your first piece of evidence. Now, if you were citing from a specific article, you could cite in parentheses the paragraph number here, right? Or if you guys are looking at several articles that I've given you, and then your job is to read 2 or 3 articles and then choose the text evidence based on certain articles, you would want to put in the author's last name. Let's say the author's last name is Smith, and then the title of the article that you're reading, so that I know when you're recording this text evidence, I know where you're citing it from, which article. So I'm totally making this up, right? And let's just say the title of this actual article is, right, our graphic novels books. It just happens to be our essential question, but again, I'm just sort of making this up for time's sake. Okay, that would be the proper way to cite your article. Okay. Okay, so now the explanation. This student has to now tell me why she picked this article or this passage to support the first part of her answer. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and read that. So the student's explanation is, this evidence, right, shows that your brain can connect to graphic novels just like books because readers are using the words and illustrations to help them interpret and understand the story being told. Okay, so again, we do want to sort of avoid the you or the your, right? Just to sort of keep this formal. So this again shows that instead of saying your, who are we talking about? Whose brain? The reader's brain, right? This shows that a reader's brain can connect to graphic novels just like books. And I underline this because you're explaining something. You're telling me why. So you almost have to use that word. That's why I underlined it. Okay. So readers are using the words and the pictures to help them, right, make sense of the story being told. This is not word for word from the story. This is what the writer of this RACER, the student, this is what they're interpreting from what they read, right? So again, some of you are saying in your reasoning or your explanation here, you're just saying, and this is why, because the passage says so. Well, that's not giving me a reason. That's not giving me your own words. So this is a great example of a student's thinking. Okay. All right. So we have this first piece of text evidence, or this answer is supported by text evidence. So reader's brain processes the same way as a book, right? We understand the book because we're making sense of the pictures and things and the words. All right. So now when I go into the next piece of text evidence, I'm looking at the second reason why the student thinks graphic novels are books. And the student's second reason says, right, it helps the reader understand the language, just like the novels. Okay. Now, I don't know if the student is meaning the language or the story, because graphic novels have stories and books have stories, right? So I'm not too sure if the student is meaning language, like there are words, again, just literally words in these graphic novels, or language meaning there's a story being told. So when I'm going down here to the second C, right, let's see what the student is referring to, and hopefully it'll make sense. All right, so the second piece of text evidence. The article also states, and then again, we have quotation marks, which tells me the student is correctly copying word for word from the article, right, a passage. So in some cases, it strengthens their memory and ability to make inferences. It also helps them understand language and the order of events when they read. Okay, so again, I put in bold here this key phrase because it aligns completely to the student's second reasoning, right? Going up here, right? The reader understands the language in the novel, okay, the language in the book, right? Helps them understand the language and the order of events when they did read a book. Okay, so this, again, piece of text evidence supports the answer. And now this also makes clear what the student is referring to. They're referring to language or the words, but when I see the order of events of a story, right? So I would almost edit this and include in here, right? It helps the reader understand the language, just like maybe novels isn't good. We'll just keep it as books. Understand the language just like books, and they both tell a story. Okay, so I'm including both of those in there because I believe the student is referring to the fact that they both have words and both, right? Graphic novels and books, they both tell a story. All right, so now let's talk about the explanation. Why does the student choose this particular passage to support their answer? So it says, this shows that graphic novels are books because, there's that word again we need, graphic novels help strengthen memories and improve vocabulary, just like regular books. Okay, it does support that reasoning. This again is not copied it's not a direct quote from the article. It is not saying because it says so. I would probably also want some sort of connection here to the fact that, right, when this quote is talking about the order of events, it's talking about a story. A story's being told, right? When we talk about narratives, they have a beginning and a middle and an end. Graphic novels have a beginning and a middle and an end. So we might maybe want to clarify that here. So graphic novels are books because graphic novels help strengthen memories and improve vocabulary. And then I would say they also both tell stories. Okay. Again, I'm saying it differently. I'm not restating this idea, right? An order of events. What are an order of events? Well, I think it's referring to the story being told. Okay, so now we're going back to restate your answer. So I'm going to go back to the answer, and I want to see this right here, this first paragraph, right? Because these are my notes down below. This student is saying graphic novels are books because they have words and pictures and they both tell a story. That's the gist of it. Let's see how the student restates their answer. So in conclusion, graphic novels are books because they both tell a story that the reader makes sense of by the brain processing words and sometimes illustrations. Okay, so again, this totally aligns. This basically says it another way. It says this answer, right here, it's saying the same idea, not bringing anything new or different, and it's just saying it using, right, different choice of words. Okay, I hope this has helped you guys sort of take a look at your own writing. If you want to, I think it's a great idea to go into your own RACER and color code these things to see if that helps you, right? Highlight your first reason, a particular color, and then take your first text citation or text evidence and explanation and highlight it and check yourself, right? Am I supporting this reason, right? This part of my answer. And in the second citation and explanation, am I supporting my second reason? Okay? All right, guys, we'll talk to you later.